This podcast is presented by Castrol Edge Euro, the #1 brand recommended by technicians in Europe. Did you know that almost 50% of European vehicles in Canada come factory filled with Edge Euro? Offer better oil. Offer your customer Castrol Edge Euro. Questions? Contact your local auto parts distributor, Wakefield Territory Sales Manager, or customer service at 1-800-268-5339. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Andrew Ross. Now, the area of converting vehicles to electric power is something that for hobbyists and technicians may think back and go, oh yeah, I remember there was a guy on the street and he converted his Beetle or his Carmen Ghia. I don't know, Volkswagen seem to be the favorites in a lot of those conversions. Or, here in where I am in Ontario, Georgian College, the automotive business school converted a Volkswagen bus to electric too. So what is it with the Volkswagens, right? But it is not all in the past. Vancouver Community College, we are recording this on April 13th, just today, started its pilot course of a 3-week program for converting vehicles to electric power. And here to talk about that with me is Brett Griffiths. He is the Dean of VCC'S School of Trades, Technology, and Design. Brett, thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Andrew. I really appreciate
it. So tell me a little and tell everybody a little bit about what is this program that you're doing and I guess kind of why now?
Sure. So we've started it's a 125 hour micro-credential. It's a blended course. So there's 1 week where there's a lot of theory components, basic electrical and stuff online, and then 2 weeks practical in person, where students or learners will get the opportunity to go through the steps of what they would do in order to convert a vehicle, if they wanted to in their own context, or potentially if they were interested in working for a company that does electrical vehicle conversions.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we don't hear we at the Royal we don't hear a lot about the conversion space, except for sort of in a little bit still in the hobby area, but coincidentally, I have, I guess, more recently started to hear it sort of a little bit in the commercial space and that so is that sort of part of the motivation for doing this, or like how did this thing get going? What's the origin story for this pilot?
Well, so there's a couple places where this came from. One of the big ones was there's the Everything Electric event, which has come to Vancouver for a couple years in a row now. And we had a lot of passersby because we had a booth at the event to share some of the work that we're doing in the electrical vehicle space. And of course, a lot of our work is focused on upskilling automotive technicians and training in that area. But there were a lot of interest from the general public. Oh, how could I go about converting my vehicle to electric? So because so many people had posted that to us posed that to us as a question, we decided to put together an application for funding to create a micro-credential for EV conversion.
So the program has started, as I said, well, as we're recording it today, so April 13th. How's the interest level been in getting this going?
So the interest level has actually been really good. This very first pilot course is completely full. So when I say full, that's 16 students. We have a number of people that are on a wait list for the next intake. So we're going to have to start planning that fairly soon here. But yeah, there's been a lot of interest right now. And and that first class will start today.
What will they learn? What would and if you can give without sort of betraying any privacy rules, I mean, what sort of profile of people are interested in and are kind of enrolled in taking this course?
Sure. So yeah, so what they'll learn is they're going to learn how to take the original components out of a vehicle. They're going to learn how to do some 3D scanning, some 3D modeling in CAD, maybe some 3D printing for bracketry. And then, of course, a big priority of this course is a safety component because you're going to be working with high voltage batteries. So As for the audience or the type of people that we've seen with interest in this course, it is a very wide range. So from automotive enthusiasts, just general interest, as well as automotive technicians that are working in the trade. So yeah, there's been a wide variety of people that have been interested, which is quite exciting for us.
So, are they going to have a chance to actually work on a specific vehicle to get real hands on? And what poor vehicle is being put up for sacrifice here? So,
Absolutely. They're going to get an opportunity to work on a 2005 GMC Canyon. So the GMC Canyon, interestingly enough, at one of actually the most recent Everything Electric show, our instructors converted the vehicle right at the show and were able to drive it out over the 3 day span of the program. Now, I'll couch that a little bit. They did have the drivetrain fully removed out of the truck before it arrived at the show, so it didn't
okay.
have the gasoline engine in it at the time, and a lot of the stuff was prefabricated. But yeah, we were able to put together and drive out fully EV converted 2005 GMC Canyon, and that's the same truck that students, along with some other training aids that we have to help bring the theory back together, will get to work on during the course of this micro credential.
Right. That's super interesting because, as I said, most of the sort of hobbyist conversions that I've been exposed to in the past have been, as I mentioned, like a lot of Volkswagen product. I mean, there's some obvious reasons why that is. There's a lot of accessibility, and it's easy to. It's basically 4 bolts, drop the engine, and a really good light transaxle anyway. So all of that stuff really lends itself well to that. But further to that point, something on the truck side lends its well to more recently what I've heard about potential areas for conversion on the commercial side, where um, people are, whether it's a fleet or tradespeople, um, wanting to, I don't know, just two things. Obviously, there's some market positioning there if you're driving electric, and depending on where your market is, and you might want that. Um, but also in not so much here, but when where you have like zero emission zones, uh, we don't talk about that much here, but in Europe, where people want to, businesses need to be able to get in there and move their inventories and their supplies and their stock around and do deliveries in with minimal of emissions. So it's not all just hobbyist, right? I mean, there's some real business cases for people out there, and so it's interesting to hear that with the conversion on the truck side. Um, what other reasons? What are the reasons from your standpoint that they chose to make that the vehicle of choice?
So why we chose that vehicle in particular was because um, I don't want to say simplicity because it's not a super simple process, but we did choose a manual transmission truck that did not have air conditioning, and it was kind of a base model to make it quite easy to do the conversion. Then we didn't have to worry about you obviously there's ways to configure the vehicle to bring over features such as air conditioning and automatic transmission, but for speed and simplicity, especially in a training environment, this made sense for us to do that type of vehicle. And to your point earlier, yeah, I think one of the biggest reasons is to get people in the mindset of fleet conversions, because there are companies out in BC such as Blue Force Electric, which is one of their primary objective is to do fleet conversions of electric vehicles to to work in that sphere, and we're hoping to train up the workforce for that, as well as give hobbyists and enthusiasts an avenue to explore doing something with their own vehicle.
Sure. I mean, there's all kinds of things. It's probably a little too early to see how it's going to go. But you mentioned that you did a sort of a small scale pilot. I don't know what you call it.
We did, yeah. We
What,
had
what
sorry, go ahead.
what did you learn from that? So,
Well, from that we learned that the folks that took it, one was enthusiast, the other two in that initially it was only three folks. The two others were automotive technicians, and they really enjoyed learning about all the different aspects of the process around it. Because in the course, not only do you learn the basics and understanding of what all the different modules do, how the batteries and motors work together. We had actually, for this vehicle that we converted, we purchased a pre-built kit from CanEV, which is a distributor for electric motors, batteries, and all the controllers. So they got to see how all those individual components work together and all of the thought process that had to go into putting into an actual vehicle because the kit itself wasn't designed for the truck. So we had to do some improvisation, some 3D scanning, and some modeling and some fabrication of components to make everything work together. So they really enjoyed that opportunity to kind of see what it would be like to do on a vehicle that hadn't been done before. And it wasn't just a kit that you followed some instructions and put it together. You actually had to explore a little bit and be thoughtful in the approach that you were taking in order to make it work.
Sure. Did the technicians who were part of that early small scale pre-pilot course give you any insights into what they might be able to do with that knowledge that they're gaining?
Like what one of them said is it gave them a better understanding and knowledge and understanding of the EV diagnostics and repair that they would be doing in the shop. So actually helped to supplement some of the training that they had prior from a formal education and from their employer. I think he had said that this really helped them better to understand how all those components work together and felt that they would become a better technician because of it.
Sure, sure. I know, obviously a lot of the technicians, even those who are interested, they need to build a certain comfort level and a comfort level around, the safety requirements too, right? So, I mean,
Absolutely.
this is a big scary thing for a lot of technicians. Even now, just starting out, they're like, oh, of anything that gets mentioned to me more often than anything about safety, right? So, that's obviously a
Absolutely.
big emphasis for you.
It is. Like that's our priority over and above everything else. A safety component comes first, and making sure that the high voltage system is depowered correctly, and then verifying with a meter to make sure that there's no high voltage in any of the circuits prior to working on it. So absolutely, safety is paramount in this area.
Sure, sure. Now, before we started on here, we talked a little bit, very briefly about how. I mean, this is not the only thing that Vancouver Community College School of Trades and Technology does in the automotive space. You're pretty involved, and my impression is that you're pretty leading edge with courses on hydrogen power and things like that you've had. I don't know where things are at now. How does this course fit into what are some of the other things that you're doing at VCC?
Well, it certainly builds on a lot of the courses that we have. As you mentioned earlier, our zero emissions vehicle technology course focuses on electric vehicle diagnostics and repair. And in that course, we also teach about hydrogen fuel cell vehicles because essentially hydrogen fuel cell vehicles are really just like an electric vehicle. And instead of plugging it into the wall, hydrogen is converted into electrons and powers it instead. So that's definitely an emerging area out here in BC. I think we'll probably see some bigger growth on the hydrogen side, maybe in the heavy truck area. But in the interim, we're fortunate enough to have three Toyota Mirais where our students get to work on them during those courses, and they get an opportunity to go through the same diagnostics and repair methods that you would on an EV, just in the scope of a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle. And then, of course, the primary focus like that, the zero emissions vehicle technology course is on the diagnosis and repair of those vehicles. We also have an entry level course for folks that have no technical background. So it's like an introduction to electric vehicles where really anybody, if with any background, can join. They'll learn about all of the basics, all the different components of an electric vehicle. As well as we have a new certificate program starting in September, which is automotive vehicle electronics, where we will train people how to rebuild electric traction motors,
Oh,
high voltage battery packs, as well as the electronic control modules that go in those vehicles. So, yeah, we're really expanding our offerings in this area as we have a big commitment to zero emissions vehicles here at the college, and it's in alignment, of course, with where the province is going to.
yeah, I sense a real trajectory here, right? So, yeah. Well, that's great. So if somebody wants to get involved, I mean, this course is already running, but it sounds like you're already starting the wait list for the next iteration of it. How do they express interest in?
Absolutely. So the easiest way to express interest would be to go to our website and search for EV vehicle conversion. TRDE 3004 is the name of the course itself. And if they click on one of the links there, then they can either contact our continuing studies department or submit a submission for interest, and we can get in touch with them and let them know when the next offering will be. Unfortunately, we haven't set the schedule for the next date of the intake, but we will obviously, based on demand, start to schedule more out.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, we'll put some of this in the show notes for anybody who's
Sure.
listening here, and just check that out, and we'll throw some links in there too. Does the interest in this particular course and some of the other more advanced courses surprise you?
It does and it doesn't. The reason I say that is because given all of the interest we had at Everything Electric around this type of course, I think I think there is a big interest from the general public just to know, even just to know more about how their electric vehicle works and how those components work. Because a lot of people are very passionate about electric as a for a vehicle or other ways of getting around. So I think that general interest, stems to this as well. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. Personally, like I would take it too if I had time as well, because I think it would be a fun thing to do. And it'd be great to kind of, think about converting my own vehicle to electric and what might be involved in that. I think it'd be a fun hobby or fun project to do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me, when I hearing somebody like you talk about the level of interest, is a good reminder that we are very, very early in the electric vehicle evolution still, and people are still really, really just learning, like at the very, very first stages, and to sort of remind ourselves maybe that we were really still at walking stage on this yet so far, and not to get ahead of ourselves and not to think we should be somewhere further along that continuum than we should. So that's my opinion anyway. So
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it is still, you know, over the years, electric has come and gone as that we've seen very small, I'll call them experiments in years gone by, and it's really interesting to see that change in Metro Vancouver because almost everywhere you look, there are EVs nowadays
yeah,
on the road around us. So for us, like it's also really important for our technicians to be trained, especially in the Lower Mainland or in Metro Vancouver, because there are so many of them that there's a lot of small shops even here that specialize in EVs. So it is starting. We're starting to see a lot more traction. But to your point, it's still considered new technology, and it's evolving too as we go.
yeah, good stuff. Well, it's good to know good things happening at VCC. Brett, thanks so much for coming on the show. As I said, we'll put some information in the show notes for those who are finding out more about what's going on at Vancouver Community College for training, and whether you're just coming into it or looking at the conversions program or some of the other great stuff they got to offer. Give it a look. Brett, thanks again. Thanks again, everyone else, for listening, and yeah, give it a listen. Check
Thank
it
you,
out.
Andrew.
We may be all be driving electric someday, right? So good stuff.
You're listening to the Great Canadian Aftermarket Podcast, brought to you by the publishers of Indie Garage and Jobber Nation. Connect with us online at indiegarage.ca and jobbernation.ca, a brand of Chat Integrated Media.